something like 8 years or something like that. He was now 50 years old, and he got the ball the first time we now had a pickup game. Of course, we had that.
Right, of course.
And I've got my half court at home there.
Okay.
So basically, he gets the ball inside and just fakes and turns and slam dunks.
At 50. Wow.
And everybody just, what? Where's this coming from?
Right.
But no, I would say that very, very few, if any, of those guys looked rather unfit. They still were all, looking good and everything.
Right.
It's nice to see that, maybe it's contributing a bit to a healthy lifestyle and all that. Yeah.
So, Mr. Dole, for everybody out there, are you still coaching?
I'm still coaching. I'm right now. I have to get back to Zim so I can start coaching my Hillcrest girls basketball team.
Okay.
And we'll be entering Manicaland competitions and everything.
Okay.
Just now.
So how's the state of basketball in Mutare now, in Zimbabwe in general? How's the state of basketball?
I think more you have to say, how's the state of sport?
Okay.
It's sad, I think. Basically, what you don't have now is you just don't have money in the game. And because there's no money in the game, there's really, just not a lot of exciting things happening. Okay. So I would have liked to have thought that by now we would be really at a very high level in basketball. But I can't really say that. I think Harare is doing fairly well. But generally speaking, if you look at South Africa, what happens is our Zimbabwe teams, school teams, can go down and really hold their own, if not beat the South African teams.
Okay.
3 or 4 years later, when now it's our club sides and everything, no, they just leave us because they've got all this support going into their clubs and things like that. And we just don't have it anymore.
Okay.
And so, I think of Manicaland and everything, and any club that's there, it's usually just a few guys who really love the game and are trying to kind of self-support it, but there's very little sponsorship going on of any kind.
Okay.
So it's sad, where in our heyday, we would have a ball for every kid to be working with.
Right.
And that's just not happening at all anymore.
So, Coach, for a lot of your former players who watch this video, what can they do to help with the basketball situation? Anything? What, small, big? What are things they can do to help? Okay,
you have different programs happening, like Gus Chikomba, who's in Indiana. If people are interested, he's running a program where he actually is raising money and then building basketball courts around the country. He's already built quite a lot of them and everything. Very nice looking courts. They look like all-weather surface. They're actually basically a cement type court.
Okay.
And concrete, but and he gets people over here sponsoring schools that want to help themselves, provide some of the labor and some of the basic materials like sand and things like that, and then his people over here supply the cement and things. So there are people that are really working to try and make it happen. Then secondly, just support your schools. Okay, all you Hartzell guys, come on. We've got to get the courts themselves. The basic standards are there. They're looking really strong and good. Nothing's ever happened to them. But the boards are falling off. The rim is hanging down. The courts themselves are now starting to get, a few cracks here and there and things like that. So it needs some money putting in order to be able to rebuild those courts and make them happen. And why not take it to the next level? Why not have you know, be able to have on a Saturday evening, when you all know from Hartzell, you know, it used to be a struggle to figure out what was legal at Hartzell for a Saturday evening. Maybe it would be, you know, a disco, but it was generally frowned on to do fun things very much.
Right.
But it was a free time. Well, why not get some lights up and have some good basketball competitions and things during the evenings, you know? Invite the Hillcrests over, or even just amongst your own sides and everything. Have the inter-house competitions be on the courts in the evenings and provide really good entertainment and things like that. Doing things that will, in other words, really promote the game, but also just promote good, healthy, fun play.
Yes. And before I conclude on the Hartzell situation right now regarding the fire, with the Gus Chikamba and their program and your experience, could you quantify, like, roughly, you know, if we want to build a court, how much money are we talking about building a court from scratch? You know, I don't know if you have any range of numbers. I think that'll give all of us some perspective, you know, how attainable such a mission can be.
He builds a court for $1,500.
So $1,500 US.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That's what he aims for, and that's what he gives to the schools. Not in the way of money. He gives it. He pays through places like Halstead's and Mutare and people like that. He'll pay a company to deliver the cement to the spot and things of that kind. So that's the way he's building them.
Okay.
And yeah, 1,500. Now, if you look at, say, Hartzell, I mean, there's already the basic surface that's there. So it shouldn't be that much.
It just needs to be resurfaced.
But it needs a good resurfacing going on. And if you just put a little surface like that, plaster over the top, I think it probably wouldn't last very well. So you need to actually go through the labor of breaking it up some, that plaster on the top, and get down more to the brick that's underneath, and then put on a new surface, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that perspective. Now, the last topic I wanted to ask, you know, we recently all saw pictures of the fire at the Form 1, Form 2 block in Old Mutare. All of us were devastated, and you are on the ground, or you're soon to go back on the ground. What did you see as far as the extent of the damage? And you know, for those who are interested in helping, we always look for a credible person on the ground who can help us to ensure money is, you know, put to the cause that is raised for. You know, can you give us some idea of, you know, what you've seen and what your thoughts are in what can be done to move the rebuilding process along?
Okay. Yeah, it was. I got there the evening of when the fire occurred. The fire occurred first thing in the morning on a Saturday morning. Apparently, something went wrong with the electricity, and so it caused some kind of short circuit that then set the whole thing off. The students were not in the building at that time, which was fortunate, but at the same time unfortunate in the sense that the fire was already going pretty well by the time people discovered that, oh, there's smoke coming out and everything. They then rushed, got fire extinguishers from all the science labs and everything, tried to put it out. It was too late. They called the fire department. It got there 20 minutes later from Mutare, and by that time the whole building was up, and that whole Form 1 and 2 block was completely gone. So what does one do? Yeah, I mean, I can't explain how emotionally difficult it was to go to that place. You know, you walk into a classroom that you had taught in,
right,
and as you walk to the door, you can just look upwards, and there's the sky up there. The whole ceiling and roof is gone. You look downwards, and you're looking down into the basement. There's no floor there anymore. And you look up at the blackboards, and there are no blackboards there anymore. You just a complete, all the windows blown out and everything like that. I mean, it was devastating. What can people do? I have to say, this happened only like a few days before I came.
Okay.
And so I am not really on top of what vision. I hear that the United Methodist Church is now trying to raise funds for this, the general church as such. What I would love to do is go back there and get some specific information about what is needed. And I think that a lot of people would feel very comfortable about not just sending a general sum of money into something, but instead say, okay, look, I want to buy 10 roofing sheets or something like that, you know, something very specific.
Okay.
And then get how many of the specific things are needed, and you know, go from that route.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to be asking from Hartzell is to give me that information about what exactly their needs really are, and then I'd like to get back to you.
Okay.
And let you know. Again, the way that Gus Chikomba does it with his basketball courts is that he knows, for example, the financial address and everything of a person like say Halstead.
Halstead, okay.
And you could actually just send the money directly to them, and they simply deliver the goods.
Okay.
So it's no middlemen involved or anything. It's just boom, there are the goods ready to go.
Okay.
And I know that there are a number of people I've talked to that would feel much more comfortable about doing something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess what we can do is probably, once you go back, you survey, see what's going on, and if there's an itemized list, we could post that on our website or some shared media, and then maybe we could reach out to Gus to see if he can make available his network of vendors in Zimbabwe that we can pay directly, and then things can be delivered. But I think a lot of people from Hartzell, all the way from 1965 when you started teaching to now, I think they're all devastated and would love to contribute towards the effort of rebuilding the former.
And some people out there still don't know about it. I was talking about talking to a Hartzell graduate from 1966 that lives in North Carolina, and he hadn't heard anything about it.
Wow.
This was just yesterday.
Wow.
So, you know, the word still needs to be spread as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Coach DeWolf, thank you so much for your time. This has been a pleasure to hear all these wonderful stories about your legacy of basketball and all the people you've coached, the great names. Thank you for your time. Thank you for all your efforts. And you're a true inspiration to all the hoop heads and hoop lovers from Oldham Tire. Thank you so much.
Thank you.